All right, so Ethan, in this episode, what I'm needing from you is a shoulder to cry on. I'm feeling very sorry for myself. I have just recently found out that I need to go for shoulder surgery, and I'm not looking for any commiserations from anybody. I'm not looking for you to tell me that you feel sorry for me. But what I'm struggling with is, and what I'm feeling is that exercising to the level that I enjoy doing, I'm feeling like it's about to be taken away from me. I've had issues with my shoulder for about 10 years. I had a torn rotator cuff 12 years ago, hadn't opted for it. Always had a bit of struggled with it since then. And last week I went to 2 specialists, had an MRI, and they both came back and have said to me, Justin, it doesn't look great. There's a lot of fluid on the shoulder, fluid in the joint. It looks like there's issues with the AC joint, your rotator cuff, and bicep tendon. And ultimately what that means is, well, I've booked this op in for the 25th of June. But ultimately what that means, it looks like I'm going to be in a sling for 4 to 6 weeks and then require rehab for at least 4 months thereafter before I can start doing the type of activities that I need to do again. And it's just such a long time to try and stay motivated when what you love doing gets taken away from you. And my concern is, am I just going to be like, fuck it, I'm not going to do any of it then, I'm going to eat all the cake, I'm not going to really worry about my rehab, or am I going to embrace it, lean in, find a different reason, different why to keep me motivated to keep carrying on. So that's what I need from you. I need a little pep talk. I need some magical advice, and maybe somebody's facing something similar where they're worried about, or they are about to be in the trough of the discipline and motivation dip. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and what I can look out for, and how I can hopefully avoid falling into just the pit of cake and doing very little while I'm recovering.
For some reason, I can't see you just diving in and just eating up the cake, Justin. That doesn't seem to be your style. But I do empathize with you, man. I'm really sorry to hear that. I know how much having an active lifestyle means to you, and I know how much it sucks to have an injury, and I can't imagine what it's like to have a surgery and the recovery time after that. I've only had a minor injury myself, so definitely have you in my thoughts and prayers. Life is going to throw curveballs at us, and this is just one of those moments, and it really sucks when it's unexpected and it takes us out of our normal day-to-day routine, and it takes us away from things that we love doing, that we're passionate about doing, and that we're used to being able to do without effort. And I look at it a few ways. One, it definitely makes me have more appreciation and gratitude for those moments the abilities that I do have, and I know that they'll come back when I'm going through this temporary period of, like, I'll call it like trials and tribulations to sound like the Bible. But it is kind of, it's temporary. And we have to remember that it's only temporary. And 2, we remember that strength comes from the ability to adapt and adjust. You've heard me say this before, but what Darwin said was not only the strong survive. People always misquote that. It's not only the strong survive, it's not the most intelligent. It's the species that's best able to adapt and adjust into the environment in which it finds itself. And that's what we are able to do as humans, is adjust, adapt our mindset. So what I like to do is I look for, once I get through the initial pain and despair and being down on myself, I try to, as quickly as possible, think, what's the bright side of this? Because everything in life, we live in a universe of polarity. There a universe of opposites. For every good, there's a bad. For every bad, there's a good. Nothing in itself is all bad or all good. So I try to look at, what is the bright side of this? Maybe in your situation, but if I were in your situation, I would think to myself, this sucks. I can't run. I can't work out. Well, that's about an hour and a half that I get back every day. Maybe I'll go into that book that I want to get done, or studying this new course, or learning this new AI application, or whatever it is. I could put this time towards that because I know this is only temporary. So let me go in deep while I can't move like I used to, and use that time for something else. And so I try to just look at what are the positive aspects of this adverse situation that I'm in right now.
Yeah, I like that. So it's a reframe. It's not what's necessarily being taken away, but what about being given back. And one of those would be time, for sure. I like that. It's then, I think for my personality as well, you need to be setting some form of goal around that. Otherwise, that time will just be wasted, or it will just be spent doing more work rather than, I like the idea of work versus building. And building would be the book, building would be the course, building would be a coaching framework, those types of things. Building would be a new keynote rather than just kind of falling into the trap of work, answering emails, sending this off, or who needs a quote, who needs an invoice, whatever it may be. So I like that. I tell you what, the one thing that I'm struggling with is, and I speak about this a lot with clients, I always say, create your stack of undeniable evidence. So your stack of undeniable evidence for those that are listening for the first time would be your list of things, of achievements, essentially. Things that you have done before that prove that you are who you say you are, prove that you are capable of things that you want to be capable of, and you sometimes don't think that you are. You've done it before, it's on your list. So that's your stack of undeniable evidence. What I'm struggling with, though, in this particular context, and maybe this is just me feeling sorry for myself, but a stack of undeniable evidence also tells me how far I've fallen. So in the context of fitness, so my stack of undeniable evidence tells me that I was in X shape, that I was able to use this particular weight, dumbbells, that I was able to run this marathon in this number of minutes, that I was able to complete 10 marathons in 10 days. And if I then look 4 months down the line after the surgery, yeah, it's my stack of evidence that I can do those things, but it also is this constant reminder of, oh man, look how far down the hill or the mountain that you rolled, and it's a hell of a long way back up. So what's a useful way to I don't even say reframe, but not get caught in that kind of, it's a negative spiral. That's 100% a negative spiral. But how do we stop ourselves and catch ourselves in that moment? And for everyone, like I'm saying, like I speak about it a lot, but I'm finding myself having those thoughts.
Well, it's funny because I was sitting here thinking, you're a public speaker, as am I. And one advantage that we have as being a speaker, a writer, or author is all this bullshit that we go through becomes a great story one day. Yeah. So I try to reframe everything. Whenever I'm going through something challenging, I try to catch myself in the moment and say, I'm going to come out of this. And when I do, this will make a great story in a talk or in a book, because there's a lesson that I'm going to learn here. I don't know what that is yet, but there is a lesson that I'm going to learn from going through this situation, and I'll be able to share that with others. Because people don't care about when things are smooth sailing. Nobody wants to hear that. That's boring. Everyone wants to hear about someone coming through a challenge, going through hell, and coming out the other side better, because we all can relate to that. We all go through those hellish experiences. So that's one way that I try to reframe, is to keep this story log in my mind. And I have no doubt that when you come through, because I think you said when you add it all up, it's a few months.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably close to 6 months.
Yeah, but you're going to have a hell of a story to tell, because I know, the Justin I know, you're going to bounce back at the end and come back better, stronger, faster than you were before. And you will have learned a million lessons during those 6 months that you didn't have before. And you'll have different perspectives and different insights to share.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I do like that. It is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to lean into the stories. As I mentioned earlier, I had an operation on the shoulder 12 years ago, but I was a very different person. I was late 20s, not the same human being. So I think the experience now is going to be very different, and there will be an opportunity to take some very different learnings and understanding myself in certain ways that this is presenting the opportunity to do that I would ordinarily not have the opportunity to find out. So I'll take that. I think that's a good way to look at it, for sure. And then how can I turn it into a great story? But I will keep the truth still. I'm not going to go down the road of letting the truth get in the way of a great story.
Of course, you keep the truth. You know, something I do want to challenge, one thing that you kind of implied there is that age makes you not the same person you were 20 years ago. And I challenge that notion, because one thing I've noticed about myself is I like to put myself around people who are much older than me, because I've learned so much wisdom from them, not just in how they think, but also their actions. So one of my mentors, Warren Rustin, I recently had the opportunity to spend time with him. He came to Atlanta to speak at an event that I put on, and he's 82 years old now. I picked him up from the airport, and he wouldn't even let me pick up his bags to throw them into the car. He was so energetic and spry. He tossed his bags in the trunk. He was like, let's go. We went out to eat. Sharp body, sharp mind at 82. Les Brown, you know that I've worked with him on projects. He's 80 years old and still out flying everywhere, speaking. He just did a TEDx talk. So when I look at that, I'm like, man, if these guys could do it, and like we talked about on our previous episode, technology is only in medicine are only getting better and better. Imagine what we'll be able to do. So instead of thinking I'm deteriorating as I get older, as I age, in my mind, I'm getting better as I get older. Like a bottle of fine wine. The older we get, the better we are. So I want you to think about it that way.
I agree with you. I think what I was referring to is not necessarily I said older, but I was gauging it by experiences that I've had since that. It was funny. As I was saying it, I was thinking to myself, all right, I was 27, 28 when I had that. And if I had to rattle off the things that I've gone through or experienced since then, and some of them have sucked. Like, some of them are real, some of them have been amazing, some of them have really tested me, some of them have still got lingering effects, but ultimately they've all been learnings that I have changed, grown, developed from. That's what I was meaning. But I'm with you. I think you and I are so aligned on the age thing. Other than we're gonna laugh. Other than the fact that I've got to go for shoulder surgery, I feel damn good. Yeah, I turned 40 at the beginning of the year, but feeling strong, feeling healthy, feeling good. And the reason I want to get this sorted out now is because I plan to be as active as I possibly can for the next 40 years as well. That's the plan. That is the plan.
And look how great you look. If you're listening to this on the podcast and you haven't been to our YouTube, go check this out, because Justin is a great looking guy. You wouldn't think he's 40 years old. Man, when we were kids, I don't know if it was like this for you. When I was a kid, when someone was 40 years old, they looked ancient.
Yeah, totally.
They were already fully gray, bald, glasses, bent over, almost had a cane. Now, 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds look so young and good-looking and energetic, and you're a shining example of that. So I hope that trend continues in that direction.
Appreciate that. See, this is what I needed. This was exactly the pep talk I needed. I'm ready to rock and roll. Bring on the surgery. I've got this.
All right, Justin.
Amazing. Thanks.